Welcome to the next installment of Keep Creating. In this episode, we're going to be talking about stencils. Here at Kept Creations, we have all different types of stencils. We have short stencils, we have metal stencils, we have paper stencils, we have short and fat stencils, we have sticky stencils, we have medium-sized stencils, stencils with lettering on it, we have stencils with big images, tiny images, all different types of stencils. We even have stencils made out of ribbon. In this episode, I'm going to show you how to use them.
Maddie, congrats on paying off all those student loans.
Finally, right?
How'd you manage that anyway?
I started tracking my spending, changed a couple of habits.
Wow, I'm kind of living paycheck to paycheck right now. I don't even know how I'm doing it.
Well, have you tried saving a little?
I want to, but where's that money going to come from? Bill collectors, they're the worst. Am I right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
Not home.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
Let's get started with some stencils today. There's many different types of stencils that we carry and that are out there. We have metal stencils, we have plastic stencils, we have stencils made out of ribbon such as this punchinella. You can make your own stencils out of acrylic, out of acetate, and even out of paper. So today I'm going to show you a couple of techniques using stencils. The first technique I'm going to show you is really simple and easy, and it's just done with a little bit of ink. These are just some ink pads, and a little bit, some daubers. We have some daubers here. And I'm just going to take a piece of paper, any type of paper will work, and a plastic stencil. Place my plastic stencil on top of my paper, and I don't need to hold it or tape it down or anything. Just hold it down nice and gently with your hands, and you're going to just rub these little daubers into your ink pad and go ahead and add that right on top. Now this is just going to add a little bit of color to your background paper. You can do this for cards, you can do this for your art journals, you can do this for any project that you have going. Even this makes really great favors or anything like that that you're working with, just to add a little bit of texture and dimension to it. And you can see here I've just added a little bit of stenciling to this paper, and it's already coming out. You can see that really intricate design. Stencils work wonderfully for this. Now, there are many other techniques to be done with stencils. You don't have to just use them with inks. You can use them with paints and texture pastes. You can use them with sprays. So many different ways to use them. And I'm going to go over a few of those today. So other than inks, like we've done here, my other technique that I want to show you is with a metal stencil. Metal stencils have a unique property because, one, they're much more sturdier and they can hold up to a lot more texture paste, but you don't really want to use the metal stencils direct with sprays because it might seep underneath, whereas this is much better with a paste of some kind. Because it has a slippery tendency, I do want to use a little bit of tape to just put that down right here. Hold that down. And I'm going to take my spatula here and my paste. I'm going to load up the back end of my spatula, and I'm just going to add that right on top of my stencil. Scrape off any excess into the container. Just make sure that it's nice and flat. And go back over it again. When I peel this up, I'm going to have a beautiful design of that stencil. Now I know you might not be able to see it because it is white on white, but I have a cute little technique where you're going to definitely be able to see it in a moment. I'm going to take a little bit of glitter, open that up, pour that right on top of that paste. Because the paste is wet, it's going to hold on to that glitter, and when I tap it off, you're going to be able to see that beautiful design in all of those pieces of that stencil. When this is completely dry, I can go over it with a Swiffer and it will wipe off all the excess glitter that is on it. Now, a couple of other techniques that we can do require some jelly plate and some sprays. Now, the jelly plate is a unique material made out of used to be made out of a gelatin, but now it is more shelf stable. They come in a container similar to this in many different sizes now. They have small, medium, and this is the medium size. They also have a really large one. It's 11 by 17, I believe, and even a round one now. Now, it might not look quite so clean here. It does have a little bit of a plastic coating on top, and it protects it, so we always keep that on top. Yours may discolor over time like this one, but it still will work. It has a little bit of a rubbery consistency to it, almost like if you were holding a giant gummy bear. Now, you can leave the backing on or you can take it off. I like to leave mine on so that way I protect my work surface. You never want to use your jelly plate on a wooden surface. It will actually seep in and you'll actually end up with a mark on your table. The jelly plate comes with this informational material and it will tell you inside exactly how to use it. If you ever buy a jelly plate here at the store, or if you purchased them elsewhere and not sure how to, you're always welcome to come in and take a look, and I'll be happy to show you. But here's a couple of techniques that are super simple and easy to use with your jelly plate. As I said, this jelly plate, it has a unique consistency. It's really rubbery, has a little bit of bounce to it, so you never want to use anything that has any kind of metal or sharp on your jelly plate. Always use something similar to a plastic. You're always going to be using your brayer, but make sure that you keep your sharp tools and instruments away from it. Once you've punctured it, it won't come back together. It's not self-healing. So we have this jelly plate here, and I'm just going to use a couple of different colors of paint today. And I'm just going to squirt the paint right on. 1, 2, let's use a couple of, actually it's going to make brown. Let's get a white in here. Come on. There we go. Now, you can use any type of acrylic paint with the jelly plate. I'm just using a cheap variety of paint. They work well, especially if you're just going to make lots of different types of prints for your art journals or your card backgrounds. Once you have added the paint to your jelly plate, you're going to take your brayer, and a brayer is just a round tool that is perfectly round all the way around and runs smoothly so that you can actually use it to spread the paint around. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill this up with the paint. Now, it doesn't take very long, but you do kind of have to work quickly because you don't want it to dry on you. So I've just gone ahead and added one layer here on top. And now I have these pretty nifty, neat tools called catalyst tools, and they just have a unique look to their edges. And I can go ahead on my jelly plate and I can add some really neat designs. And once I put on my piece of paper, I go ahead and I just add that right on top of the jelly plate, press down firmly with my hands, make sure it's all added on there. I'm going to pull off my first print. Now, this is a mono print, and you can see that this print has come out, and it just has a nice texture look to it. Now, you can let this one dry, and then you can actually go ahead and add more on top of it at another time. Now, this here still has a little bit of wetness to it still, so if you go ahead and add another piece, what you get is what they call a ghost print. It's a little bit less of the original, but it has a nice faded background to it, so you can really have a lot of different neat textures to your design. Now, to clean this, all you would need to do is add some water. But for today, I'm going to show you another technique with this. So I'm going to leave what I have on here already, and I'm going to add on top of it. So I have a stencil, and actually I'm going to use a bigger stencil so you can see the whole thing. So I have a stencil and it has some butterflies on it because I used some purple before. So I'm going to lay that right down on top of my stencil and just give it a nice press to make sure that it's all on top of my stencil. I'm going to grab a color. I'm going to grab a nice bright pink here. And I think I will grab a little bit of the orange. These are all neon colors. Neon seems to be very popular right now. And I'm going to add a little white, and that's just going to add a little bit of opaqueness if your paint has a translucency to it. Now, my brayer does have a lot of purple left on it, so I'm just going to rub that right off onto a paper towel here. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add this brayer right on top here, and just go ahead and mix the colors, add a little bit, get that all nice and covered. As you can see, it doesn't really take a lot. Just a little bit will go a long way. And again, we're just using some really inexpensive paints. Now, you can do this twice. You can do this with just a piece of paper on top, just like this, and you're going to get a unique look with the stencil on. And when I lift this off, you're going to get kind of the actual stencil look to it. And if I take this and I take the stencil off, you can see my ghost print is actually going to look like this, which is really unique. Add that right on top, give that a press. And again, you want to do this quite quickly so that you make sure the paint is still wet. You could use a paint retarder if you had one, but no need to sometimes. You just have looks really great the way it is. Isn't that neat? So you can go ahead and you can use this as your background. You can actually add more colors on top of it. Kind of something neat. You can see I have lots left over here. So if I take this and I add my gold on top, has a unique property as well because of the gold. It's actually going to reinvigorate the dried ink, and you're going to end up with a beautiful image once all done. So here I'm going to just add this gold right on top. Might need some more gold there, I can see. You can see here I didn't quite cover it. It's kind of, you can see through it. I'm just going to add a little bit more gold just to make sure that I've got complete coverage there. There we go. And you're just going to wait a moment because what you're doing is you're reactivating all of that texture that was underneath there. So I'm going to leave that on for just a moment. Take one of my previous images here. You can see this was the one that we did earlier, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to go on top of this as well. Lay that down. Add that, and this is going to pick up those previous colors. It's going to have gold, and you're going to be able to see some of the purple through it, some of that texture. So you can see a little bit of the texture come through. There. We'll be right back with more.
Maybe he's really focused.
Hey, Michael. Michael. Maybe he likes spinning the wheels.
Maybe he just loves trucks.
Maybe he's just being a boy.
Preoccupation with objects is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
break, I thought of another technique that I'd like to show you with this jelly plate. So I laid down my butterfly stencil again, and I added the orange, pink, and white, and I again made the negative of the stencil. So now I'm going to take that stencil off again, and I have this beautiful image that's laying on my jelly plate. You see that there? It's really a unique look to it. I'm going to take one that I have used before, and now this is completely dry now, and I'm going to place that right on top, and you're going to see just building layers is going to add to your cards, your journals, or whatever you're using your monoprints for. And you can see when I peel that off, it just has a unique look. You can see both layers on top, one there and then the other, and you can also see the difference in the colors here as well. It picked up a little bit more of that yellow there, and it looks like this orange isn't quite as opaque as I usually like them to be. But that's the nifty neatness of it, and we still have a little bit more to do with the jelly plate. So I have this image here that is laid down, and I'm not going to clean it up. Normally I would just clean it up with water, but I'm going to show you how to stamp on your jelly plate and pick up that image as well. So I'm going to just grab a nice light blue color here, and I'm going to put that on top. And maybe we'll add a nice dark blue so that it has a nice gradient look. I love that look to it. So if I could add that right there. So I'm going to take my brayer, and I'm going to start at the top, and I'm just going to add that color right on down, and then I'm going to end up picking up just a little bit of that blue and mixing it in, and you can kind of see how it starts to have a nice little gradient in the middle, kind of a unique look to it. And the more that you play with it, the better your gradient will be. But right now, what I'm going to do is I have a nice thick layer on top of my jelly plate. You can see, oops, I added a little bit too much. There we go. Nice thick layer on top of my jelly plate. And I'm going to just take a stamp. Now my stamp has nothing on top of it, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to actually press inside on top of it, lift, and I have created a little bit of a stamped image. Going to just press my stamp off onto my paper towel and stamp again, lift, and I have my stamped image in there. And it's again, here I have another one, press, lift, and it's definitely a unique look to it because you have a little bit of give. I don't know if you can see that as I'm pressing down. It just kind of gives a little wiggle room. I also have a little bit of this. This is that punchinella that I used. I'm actually going to take my punchinella, place that down, and go ahead and rub that on top with my brayer so that you can just see the different types of texture that you can create. I also have a little mask. Place that down. Go ahead and add that right on. You can lift that right up. You're going to have a beautiful print. I'll lay the paper down right on top. Now it is very wet, so when I peel it off, it's going to really curl this time. And that's because of how much liquid is in the paint. If you have a higher quality paint and a higher quality paper, your paint won't, or your paper won't wrinkle as much. But for jelly printing, it's just as nice to have some unique look to it. Have a play time. And what you want to have is, you can see it is a stamp right here, another stamp in here, and right along. So you can kind of play around with that as well. It is unique and different every time you use it because it is a monoprint. So the more you use it, the more fun you have with it, the more you're going to get to know and get to just have a feel for what colors you like, what techniques you like, and where you're going to go with your jelly plate and your stencils. So another technique that I was thinking that you would love to see is with another metal stencil. So we have this metal stencil here. It's really pretty. I don't know what kind of flower it is, but it's kind of got a nice, definitely floral look to it. And I'm actually going to place that down. And because it's a metal stencil, I use just a little bit of tape to hold it down. Now you could go ahead and tape up the whole thing if you wanted to. Excuse that. I got some pretty blue fingers at the moment. that right down. Just going to tape that up just a teeny bit so that it will not move on me while I'm going to add the next layer on. Now I have a unique product called Ferro. This is a metal effect color, and it has a neat property because it stays raised when it's placed on, and it has a really beautiful color to it. This one happens to be golden orange. This is made by a company named Viva, and they're actually in Germany, and they import their products over here. So this is Ferro, and it is just, as you can see, it's kind of a thick paste, kind of like the modeling paste that we had. But it's just a little bit different because it's got like little mica color inside of it. Whereas the last one we had to add a little bit of glitter. This one here already comes with it. It's really thick and really like, almost like gluey gummy. You can see how hard it is to take off of that stencil there. Just really super thick. Now when I go ahead and I remove the stencil, you're going to see, oh, this is perfect. Adds a really nice color and sheen right to your image. You can just make your image just like this, and you can add this to a card. You can add it to your art journal pages, your scrapbooks, anything that you want to add this little medallion to. You can even take a tablecloth, paper tablecloth, add them all along the edge, all to the center of the tablecloth, and add just a little bit of touch of elegance to your next party. So it's a really nifty thing to do with your stencils. Now when your stencils are done, you do want to make sure that you put your metal stencils and your spatulas in water. If you don't, you will need some rubbing alcohol to remove the paste and the modeling cream from your stencils. Just has a little bit of a thicker consistency than the paint, so it doesn't come off as easily. Now we have tons of these plastic stencils here. Some of the things you've probably used plastic stencils for in the past, if you have used them, is just to draw on. So it makes a really great border. If you place that right on the side, grab yourself any kind of a marker or a pen, and you can go ahead, actually I'm going to take the other side because it's got a little bit of a sharper point. Go ahead and add your design right to it. It's kind of got a neat way to add a little bit of a texture and a little bit of something to look at in your scrapbooks, in your cards, and more. Here I just have made like a little arrow chevron. You could color these in if you wanted. And this is actually a really great thing to do with the kids. Super simple, super easy, and makes really fun. They can really do anything. You can use crayons, you can use cheap markers. You don't have to use anything expensive once you have the stencil. I'm just going to one more thing right here, and you'll see. Makes a really nice design. It's nice and simple and easy, and you just create a border. Now you can continue that all the way down. If I wanted, I could add that right to there and just continue that border all the way down. That's the beauty of a stencil. You could go ahead and you could take a marker and you could color inside. You can stamp, ink it, whatever you want to do to make it your own. Another thing to do with the stencils that you have, you can take any of the stencils here, place that right on top of your paper, and you can use some sprays with your stencil. So here I just have an ink spray, and I'm going to just place that. Now it's going to be kind of messy, so I'm going to just take this here, and you're going to place this right on top, and you're just going to spritz kind of far away, about 6 to 8 inches away. I have another color here. And if it's really wet, you can see this one here is really wet. It probably seeped underneath just a little bit, but the rest of it, you're going to have a beautiful outline of that design. When I lift this up, you got a really nice design there. It didn't seep underneath too bad, which is nice. So you have a really beautiful look to your background. Now, it doesn't take very long for this to dry. The acrylic paint, the sprays, the inks are immediate. The modeling cream and the pastes are the only thing that are going to take any time to dry. And those will dry probably within about 20 minutes to a half an hour. Now, these ones here are the ones that we're going to take a little bit longer to dry, whereas this ink that we did right away, super fast, super quick, dry immediately, this is going to take just a few minutes, and then the paint just takes a few minutes to dry as well. Depending on how much paint you use, if you use really thick amounts of paint, you're probably going to need a little bit of drying time or a heat gun to help you out with that. Now I still have a ton of ink on my stencil, as you can see. So a nice way to use that up is just take your paper, place that right on top. Go ahead and rub that with your hand. Now that this part's dry, I can do that. Lift that up, and you're going to be positive of that, which is kind of a nifty look too. So you have both the positive and the negative of this image. You can use that whichever way you want. And there is actually still some more. You could actually just wet it with some water and add some more to it too. Now some stencils come similar to this where you almost build your own scene. I don't know if you can see that here. You have to build your own scene. This is really neat. You can actually use this with embossing powder and you can emboss with it. And you can use it also with the sprays or the modeling creams or with the paints or even the markers. And you'll be able to build your scene up so that you can actually have an image and a whole scene on the side of your paper. So I have an example of that stencil here. Let's see where that is. Oh, over here, right here. You can see I have created a little bit with that stencil, and I have taken, I think it might be on the other side here, I have taken and I have added a little bit of ink to it and embossed it with my heat gun to get that nice look, and then trace the outline of it so you can actually see it pop right out. All this color in the background are just these dies, and all of this down here, all stencils. This is a stencil, this is a stamp, but these are all stencils. And you can just see it just really adds a little bit of a texture and a lot of dimension to your art projects. We'll be right back with more.
Know what?
What?
Since I got adopted, I've learned a lot about these humans.
I know. I mean, check out these two. It's Flirt City over here.
Yeah, I noticed that. It looks like my human is definitely into your human.
Oh, look! I think she's getting his number.
Nice.
Your human's got some sweet moves.
Takes after his dog. Oh, look, they're doing that thing where they put their arms around each other.
She kicked up a leg. It's like in the movies.
That's awesome. Looks like we're going to be hanging out a little bit more.
Did we have fun today on this episode of Keep Creating? We created with stencils and the jelly plate. Using all different types of stencils and all different types of techniques, we're able to create an array of different images and background papers. This episode was brought to us by a request from you, the viewers. If you would like to request some technique or something that you would like to see on Keep Creating, contact us at keptcreations@gmail.com. Until next time, keep creating.